Dominick, thank you so much for taking the time. What did you make of the main event at UFC 202? How did you feel about the way it was? The result came out.
I think that it went exactly the way the sport needed it to. You could possibly have a trilogy between those two, and I don't think there's anybody on earth that wouldn't sit down and probably leave something that they're doing to go watch a third fight between those two. That being said, you're elevating the status of the sport, and that's really what we're all in this for, because the higher the status of the whole entire sport, the more money we can make as individuals in the sport. And that's really what this whole thing's about when it comes to Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz and the level of views these guys have been reaching with the hype and just the way they go out there and perform.
Dominick, it's not something that you've done, but could you explain how difficult it is for somebody like Conor to go up in the weight classes that he did, essentially 25 pounds higher than he's used to fighting and taking on a guy like Nate?
Yeah, and in all honesty, if you do the research, I actually have done it. At 155 pounds, I fought the first 3 fights of my career. And I did that early in the fight game. I was not in the UFC, and that's something that makes it a little different, is he's done it in an organization that gets the promotion to know that he was able to do this. This is something that's been going on in the sport for years. People have been jumping weights, going up, down, doing this for years in this sport, including myself. The difference is it doesn't get the promotion because the UFC is the stage that is able to generate the views that people can now hear about how tough this sport really is. Conor McGregor happens to be the transport to that information to all of you because he has had the biggest outreach. So now he pretty much represents the sport of mixed martial arts and all of us as fighters to show the world what mixed martial arts fighters do, can do, and why it's the hardest sport in the world. And this is one of the reasons. You can go up in weight. Weight doesn't really matter to us. We're willing to fight anybody. And Conor proves that in this matchup that he had.
So when you see that, though, when you did it, for example, what is the biggest challenge? And if you say if it's not that hard in terms of you'll fight anybody, but there's got to be some sort of challenge to it, no?
There's absolutely a challenge to it. It's not that just anybody can do it. It's just that it's something that happens in the sport was my point with that. But the challenge with it is the fact that you're dealing with a bigger frame, a bigger, heavier body with more muscle and more weight. And when you do that and you get into grappling transitions, it makes things much more difficult because it's like lifting weights. It's like adding extra weight to the bar. When you just do 10 reps and you add extra weight and then you got to do another 20, you just can't do it. That's how your body pretty much feels when you're in those kind of matches with the heavier man. You run out of energy faster, and then not to mention the fact that you also have to add that he's carrying around extra weight. So his cardio isn't going to be the same as it was at his natural fighting weight class, which is, in my opinion, 145 to 155 pounds. I think he's a better 45er because that's where he is the lightest, but that's where your cardio is the best, is when you're at your lightest. And walking around at 170 does not benefit either of these gentlemen in the idea of cardio.